Now, we all know, Bob, that as a business, when the fight is big enough, you've worked with Don King, you've worked with De La Hoya, even Al Heyman. How do you make this happen?
Al Heyman, he refuses to allow any of his fighters to get beat by a top-ranked fighter. And if Terrence fights Errol Spence, there's one winner, and that's Terrence Crawford. That's Terrence Crawford. That's Terrence Crawford. That's Terrence Crawford fights Errol Spence. There's one winner, and that's Terrence Crawford. And Al Heyman refuses to allow it.
Welcome to the motherfucking relay. We're covering today's top boxing news.
Okay, we'll start with this. Well, Gervonta Davis recently tweeted on my mother. Me and Tevin both fight 27th. I'm calling him out after my if we don't fight. Jesus Christ, this guy's fucking writing is hard to read. By the end of the year, I'm knocking him out whenever I see him on my daughter.
What?
Since he want to keep talking and the promotion not trying to make the shit happen. And, you know, that last bit of it, that the promotion not trying to make the shit happen, you know, I sincerely wonder, who the fuck is Gervonta Davis talking about? Eddie Hearn replied to that with, "You've had 3 offers now, and the last one was big. We've had none. Let's get these July fights won, then get it made." To which Gervonta Davis replied, "I've been ready. I'm ready now. I will be ready after July. Let's make it happen." Now, we all know what the Davis fans' response to that is going to be. They're going to say they don't believe shit that Eddie Hearn says, that he didn't actually make an offer. He didn't make Davis any offer. Yet Gervonta Davis himself, back in October of last year, acknowledged that Eddie Hearn was in fact making offers to Gervonta Davis to go over there and fight. In a tweet that reads, "I heard you made a bigger offer," which implies he'd already made an offer and then improved upon it. "I heard you made a bigger offer this week, bruh. So you want me to fight?
Yeah, you jackass ass.
Fucking October of last year, man. October of last year. You understand? That's how far back Eddie Hearn made offers to Gervonta Davis to try to see that Tevin Farmer fight become a reality. And it was to no avail. Because at the end of the day, those offers were turned down. You know, and I reiterate, it's not subject to debate. It's not subject to your fucking opinion. Because on one end, you have Eddie Hearn saying that we sent you offers, and on the other end, you have Gervonta Davis confirming that he was sent offers. So, you know, I mean, argue with your fucking self if it bothers you, but it's still the truth. I'll tell you what, I'm not gonna mull over the entire fucking history of how Gervonta Davis's team has guided him away and around tough fights. I'm not gonna do that. I've done that enough in previous videos, and I'll leave the links to those videos in the description box for your viewing pleasure. So you can get a full idea of how long this has been going on.
Do your homework.
I'm not gonna get into all that. I'm just gonna address this tweet and what I think it really is. What I think this tweet really is a hollow call-out intended to generate interest for this upcoming Nunes fight. Because this upcoming Nunes fight is not garnering any interest. Nobody's interested. Nobody cares. Funny thing about it is that this is a mandatory title defense. This is a guy that Gervonta Davis has to fight to keep his belt. That's the reality of it. That's what Ricardo Nunes is. That's his mandatory challenger. But it being that Gervonta Davis, in recent memory, has been participating in nothing but showcase fights against unheralded opponents, it's had an adverse effect on his momentum, I should say. That you've been fighting so many guys that just come in there to lay down that nobody's interested in anything you're doing anymore. So against a guy like Ricardo Nunes, who is also unheralded, they look at him as being indistinguishable from a Hugo Ruiz or a Jesus Cuello. I mean, there is a difference. This guy, Ricardo Nunes, he is your mandatory challenger, whereas those guys were handpicks. But better still, to the casual observer that only really comes around for big, interesting fights with familiar names, the name of Ricardo Nunes is not a familiar name. You understand? I mean, none of those guys at 130 pounds right now, not a single one of them is a household name. Gervonta Davis, Miguel Bachel, Tevin Farmer, Jamel Herring, none of them are superstars yet.
Not yet.
But they are champions. In that way, their names are a bit more familiar than just the contenders that grace the alphabet's ranks. And up until you're in there with one of those guys, you're not going to generate any interest. Gervonta Davis knows that, and if he doesn't, his handlers do. They know. And that's what I think. That's who I think is coaching him, coaxing him to put this hollow call out there. Because if you were really interested in fighting Tevin Farmer, you would have took one of those offers they made you back in October. So you didn't take none of them, right? Your team turned them down. Right there.
All right.
So, let's say he goes in there. He beats Ricardo Nunez. He calls out Tevin Farmer after that. I don't got no stock in that shit. That shit don't prove nothing to me. He done came right up to you, in your face,
First!
and said, yo, you told me to get a belt. I got a belt now. What's going on? Remember? Tevin Farmer's been calling him out since before he got a belt and after he got a belt. Fight didn't get made. Offers were sent to Gervonta Davis. Fight didn't get made. So if you ask me,
You believe this shit?
you know how much stock I have in this call out, oh, he could do it, but I don't have any confidence that the fight will get made. I don't. It's a hollow call out. If you really wanted them, they already made offers for you to fight. How many offers have you made them? You know? Leonard Ellerby loves to call Gervonta Davis some kind of a fucking superstar. Okay, superstar. So how many offers are you sending out to these other champions to unify? You sent an offer to Bichel?
No.
An offer to Jamel Herring?
No.
Before it was Jamel Herring, did you send an offer to Masayuki Ito?
No.
Did you send an offer out there to Tevin Farmer?
No.
Who, you know, you're a superstar, right? So who you sending offers out to, superstar? Because from what I see, that you've been sent offers you didn't take, but you don't seem to send any out of your own. So the bottom line here is this proposed call out, because he's proposing a call out, as fucking lame as that is. This proposed call out reads as hollow to me. I don't doubt that he's gonna do it. What I doubt are his intentions with the call out, because it seems to me that he's just using the name of a known rival to garner interest for his upcoming fight. It being that his upcoming fight isn't garnering any interest. So he's got to do something to add sizzle to that. He'll bring up the name of Tevin Farmer, a guy we know is one of his professional rivals, and he'll try to use the momentum from that to get attention for his fight. Tevin Farmer, he's doing his own thing right now. Ever since he got over there with Matchroom USA and started fighting on DAZN, this is a guy who's been keeping busy, staying active, having fights, and getting his bag. You know, it's not all about chasing people anymore. It's not all about that, because he's getting money on his own, off his own name. He's doing his own thing. So, you know, at this point in the juncture, I don't even have any stock in any call-outs from Gervonta Davis, the Twitter warrior, pound for pound numero uno on Twitter. I don't got no stock in that shit. He could go in there, he could do that shit. But unless you're actually gonna, you know, get the wheels in motion to really make a fight, you know, like Eddie Hearn's been trying to make a fight with you guys, unless you're gonna oblige him, that call-out ain't about fucking shit. In other news, it appears that Kell Brook had to dispel some recent rumors. He's denying retirement rumors and still wants a Crayford fight. Yeah, retirement rumors. That seems to be the story. Don't know where they came from, but Kell Brook was quoted as saying, I just wanted to address some speculation circulating around about my retirement. Brook wrote, I'm not sure where these reports have surfaced from, but I have not retired. I have had some time away from the ring, but me and my team have been proactively looking to secure them big fights. We went to New York because we want to fight Crawford. These are the level of fights that get me excited, and I'd only ever want to bow out on a high, putting on an exciting show for my fans who have always shown me incredible support. If these big fights can be made, then I'd love nothing more to dance again under them bright lights. So unless and until you hear it from me, know that the special one still has a few more special nights in store for you guys. And you know, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't hear this rumor. I mean, in all honesty, Kell Brook dispelling this rumor is the first I've heard of the rumor. I didn't, you know, see anybody reporting. I didn't see anybody from Boxing Scene, Boxing News 24, ESPN, CBS Sports, Ring Magazine, World Boxing News, you know, Metro UK. I mean, nobody. I didn't see anybody reporting on this story. So in all honesty, it's a rumor, I guess. But it's a rumor that I wasn't privy to. I don't know where it came from, quite honestly, and apparently Kell Brook doesn't either. But in this era of boxing, where you have a lot of boxing fans, and those boxing fans give their thoughts on fighters, perhaps it's possible that someone gave their thoughts on Kell Brook and what's left of his career. They mentioned retirement, and that might have gotten misconstrued. You know, that got misconstrued and it got spread around, and before you know it, it's a full-blown rumor. But like I said, myself, I wasn't even privy to the rumor. So the fact that Kell Brook went as far as dispelling it means that, you know, this thing must have been getting around. I mean, I figured that, Kell Brook, he's not done yet. At minimum, he wants a Crawford fight, and he already said as much, and that's why he was there, because he wants that fight. And in all likelihood, it's a fight that could actually happen. Why? Well, look at what's going on in the welterweight division. Manny Pacquiao and Keith Thurman, they're going to be squaring off against each other very soon. Many rumors circulating in regards to the future of Porter versus Spence, that it might have gone from being a fight that was going to be showed on regular Fox to being shown as a pay-per-view in September. Something along those lines. I mean, that's what the rumors are. But essentially, a lot of the big names in the welterweight division, those guys are booked. They're going to be fighting, amongst themselves, in which case Crawford does need a dance partner, so who better than Kell Brook? A common opponent, what could be a common opponent, between him and Errol Spence. Errol Spence, who is the other half of their super fight, of their legacy fight. A fight between Terrence Crawford and Kell Brook could reignite the flame, reignite the conversation that is Terrence Crawford versus Errol Spence, because if you want my opinion, if you want my take, that's a fight that has actually lost steam. That's a fight that, yeah, people want to see it, but they're fucking tired of talking about it. They're getting to the point to where, they feel like the fight's going cold. I know that's how I feel. And a Kell Brook fight, what would be a common opponent between both Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence, could reignite that flame, kickstart that conversation yet again to where the fight is exciting, because right now it's just another one of those fights that people argue about incessantly day after day after day until broaching the subject overall just becomes more of an annoyance than something you look forward to. And the thing about common opponents between polarized fighters like Errol Spence, polarized fighters like Terrence Crawford, the thing about common opponents is, whether you like it or not, when two polarized fighters have a common opponent, people tend to cross-compare their performances to lend some kind of insight as to how a fight between those two fighters would play out. And, any real boxing fan, any seasoned boxing fan will tell you that triangle theories, they really don't work. That how two different guys fare against a common opponent may not lend any insight into how a fight between them would play out. But better still,
It might not.
a lot of people do it. And that effect, the effect that has, it could make the Crawford versus Spence fight a hot topic yet again, because I reiterate, all this stalling, all this red tape, all this side of the street crap, it's causing the fight to lose steam. It's causing the fight to just, cool off. And that's just not conducive towards building a super fight, to where people get so sick and tired of the fucking thing, it just fades into the background because everybody's tired of waiting for it. So, I think a common opponent could spark some interest in that fight yet again. And, I'll take it. As a boxing fan, yeah, I'll take Terrence Crawford versus Kell Brook. It's an interesting enough fight that I would actually look forward to seeing it. So, provided that things keep going in the direction that they're going, that, Crawford's not going to get to deal with any of those PBC guys for some time, yeah, I'll take a Kell Brook fight. It's good enough. Now, in regards to those PBC guys, some news in reference to the Sean Porter versus Errol Spence unification fight. Some recent developments per Mike Kopinger. And he's saying that both Sean Porter and Errol Spence have reached a deal for what is a fall unification fight to be featured on pay-per-view. And, my reaction to this news is that this actually makes more sense than what those initial reports or rumors or whatever the fuck they were. But this actually makes more sense than what the preliminary reports were stating, because those reports were stating that these guys were going to be fighting at the end of the summer in August on regular television. And I thought to myself, and I'll leave the link to that video in the description box, I thought to myself that it doesn't really make a lot of sense. It conveys the wrong message about Errol Spence. To have him go back to regular TV, having already been on pay-per-view
Against Mikey Garcia.
when the goal seems to be making him a superstar, making him a marquee fighter, a pay-per-view attraction, and what is supposed to be the A side in a Terrence Crawford fight. Well, if you go putting that guy on regular TV in a unification fight, that'd be like saying that you don't trust him to sell the fight on his own. Because, we know that Sean Porter, he's not a pay-per-view attraction either. He's never been on pay-per-view. Errol Spence has. But if Errol Spence goes from being on pay-per-view to being on regular TV, Well, that'd be like the PBC saying, we don't trust you guys to sell this fight. Sends the wrong message. And in all honesty, I looked at this fight comparatively with the Mikey Garcia fight, and I thought to myself, one of these fights is a pay-per-view worthy fight, and one of them is not. And in regards to that, that Mikey Garcia fight, that shit didn't belong on pay-per-view. That was a $75 mismatch. You're gonna charge people $75 to watch a fucking fight, then at least let it be a contest. And that was anything but a contest. And what's worse is I already knew that before the fight. That's like daring to be great, all that smoke, all those mirrors. That's all bullshit. Mikey's gonna walk in there, Mikey's gonna get beat. It's that fucking simple. And anybody who didn't think so, well, you're a fucking idiot, okay? You're a rube, You're wet behind the ears, you're green, whatever. You're a good kid. But what you're not is a sharp pencil. Because anybody could have told you Mikey was gonna lose that fucking fight. That kind of fight don't belong on pay-per-view.
It's bullshit.
Whereas a Sean Porter versus Errol Spence fight, that has more potential to be competitive, to be a crowd-pleasing fight. It's a fight between two world champions in the same weight class. No fucking excuses. Sean Porter's a seasoned vet. He's been in there with some of the best and brightest the division has to offer. So if anybody poses a challenge for an Errol Spence, it's a Sean Porter more than it's a fucking Mikey Garcia. Mikey Garcia ain't done both fucking diddly at the weight. That's no test. But Sean Porter going in there with his green belt as a champion, that communicates the right message. And that's the kind of fight that belongs on a pay-per-view. That's actually a fight that I don't mind paying for. Yeah, I think it belongs on there. And I hope that they deck out the undercard with, some interesting situations. I hope that they can, spice it up a bit. Don't just let the main event be the best fight. Put something on that shit. But for what it's worth, yeah, I do think that Sean Porter versus Errol Spence, I think that's worthy of a pay-per-view. It's a genuinely intriguing fight that services not only what the fans want, but what the division and boxing itself needs: consolidation.